What's going on? We have arrived once again at another Blade Snail Solves. But that's alright. Hey, what's important is that we're all here. I hope you're all very sexy. I had to do some frick fucking, and I'm not sure if it all is going good. Just gonna make sure. This may be the one that I fucked up. It is. That's alright. You're gonna have to deal with it. So I did some pretty big shit. I had to do a whole bunch of computer shit. I've been fucking ripping stuff apart, getting stuff done, just absolutely out of my way, just not even paying attention to shit, just getting what I need to get done. The Snail tape is basically finished. Now it's just getting it all ready for release. So that's a huge relief now. I think I'm happy with it. Everybody that's heard it so far is enjoying it and likes it. So I'm really fucking psyched for that. I'm really fucking psyched. Real quick, let me see if I can, let me see, oh geez. Let me see here. Let me see here. Shout out Rod. We got a couple people in here. This is going to be a shorter one just because I still have a lot of shit to do here. But I had to fucking follow through. I completely lost track of time yesterday. In lieu of all of the shit that I've been doing, I've just been focused. Focused on busting and doing my shit. So I'm taking a little sexy little rest and I'm like, oh shit, before you know it, it's a little too late now. But I'm here for it. You know, hopefully we'll get some suggestions, and if not, then we're just gonna fucking hang out for a little bit. There might be another stream later. We'll see. But I had to come pay my dues. I love all of you so much. I gotta figure this shit out here. I did an unreal amount of fucking organization. Look at all this shit. Yeah, there was a lot. It's this one. That's it. Yeah, nice. Okay, I fixed it. Alright, hold on. Let me put myself back into regular sex city here. Alright. Oh, hell yeah. Beautiful. Close that down. Alright, so how the fuck is everybody? How's everybody been doing? Bear, I saw your message, dude. I wanted to get to that on here. I'm really glad that you're here. It's good to see everybody. Kale pointed it out to me the other day that like the background music and shit, like in the past couple streams, has lined up in pretty like uncanny, like funny ways, and I love that. So hold on, real quick. We're gonna switch this. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. What the fuck is going on? Blue Cat's in the building. I saw Kale. Hold on, let me fucking give this a good old stretch. A little stretch of Mundo. Can I put this here? Yeah, and then can I just stretch this? I'm stretching it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes, alright. Well, hello everyone. I hope everybody's ready to get some problems solved. Let me see. We have a quick update from Master Bear. Monday, 6-week post-op follow-up. Let's go. This is a monumental checkpoint on my road to recovery. See, that's what I like to hear. Bear's been putting in his work, dude. Physical therapy is a long and arduous process. And the difficulty, not even just from the physical aspect and stuff, it's tough to go through it, you know, and then to deal with a whole bunch of other shit. I had 2 partial shoulder dislocations that have brought back that PTSD and fear. I feel the same way. I don't know if you heard recently, but I fucked up my shoulder again. And that shit really sucked. That shit sucked a lot, actually. So, I feel for you. I really do. That's not fun. It's really not good. I'm trying to think. There was a couple other things I was thinking about this week that I wanted to bring up on Snail Solves, but honestly, I can't think of them right now. I know it's just more or less just kind of going through, like, the theme of, like, the last week has just been kind of cutting off like parasitic people, and parasitic can be somebody that isn't like actually like a physical detriment to you, right? Like parasitic can be, parasite can be anything that takes away without giving something in return, right? You know, so like not necessarily, I feel like parasite is like an extreme term to use for something like that. I think I like the term vampire, and vampire makes me think of Casey. Shout out Casey Batman. But yeah, the Snail Man syndrome is real. It really is, and the effects that it has on the average person it's shocking. You know, there's a lot of shit to be desired there, and you need to go watch it actually on the gastropodenterprise main channel. Look up Snail Man syndrome. Sexy vampire bang now, yes, dude. I was talking about Casey just last night, admiring him in his lust for beautiful women who hunt vampires, and he's a vampire. He wants to be hunted sexually, which is really cool, and I'm glad for him. I'm glad about that for him. Yeah, we did see Casey in Once Human, didn't we? Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. But yeah, so just kind of like how to navigate around dealing with people that are energy vampires and stuff like that, and people that don't regularly contribute to your life and your spirit and your well-being. There needs to be some kind of balance, right? Like if they're gonna steal your energy to any capacity, it needs to be either for a really good reason, right? Or, you know, or if not for a good reason, then they have to be like giving back to you somehow. And that doesn't have to mean in like a material way, but like, you know, for instance, there's a lot of people out there in the world who only want to talk about their problems. They only want to talk about the bad things that happen to them in life, and they just can't imagine a situation where anything isn't bad for them and shit, or there isn't some kind of negative underlying thing, because 9 times out of 10, that is the case. I mean, like, there's always something negative you can derive from something. But at the same time, choosing to do that, making the conscious or subconscious choice to accept that as acceptable behavior is just a bad thing. It is. Because negative things happen all the time. Everybody has negative shit. Everybody encounters negative shit. But if you just deal with it, like if your reaction to it is to just be like, yeah, everything sucks, you know, everything sucks, feel bad for me, you know, and I can't ever feel like everything is okay, and you know, and that is a rut I feel like that people fall into. That's not something that just happens. That's something that accumulates over time. But at the same time, making the conscious decision to accept reality for it's sucking. You know what I mean? Like, all right, well, you know, I'm trying to think of examples. Like if you just trying to play music, right? If you're trying to be a musician and you just can't fucking do it, right? You just can't fucking do it. You spent years trying and it's just, you know, blah, blah, blah. So what do? I mean, do you just get pissed? You know what I mean? Do you like become negative and try to ruin everybody else's, you know, view on music? Like, yeah, music sucks. You know, I mean, I've been playing music for 4 years and I'm not any better and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, it's a ridiculous thing when you make it like comparisons like that. When you like give it like a really stupid analogy too. But no, I mean, ultimately, you're in control. So if you allow yourself to be around those people specifically, and they could be family, they could be friends, they could be best friends, they could be your significant other. You know, it's just everything is always doom and gloom and shit like that. And I hear it so often. I hear it all the time. And it's a pretty normal problem, I think, for people to have, because naturally, you know, and for some people this is the case where they don't have very many people, or they don't have anybody, right? They have one person, and that person is just constantly taking a huge shit. You know what I mean? And they have no choice. They think that they feel like they have no choice but to, like, all right, well, I gotta hang out. This is the only person that actually wants to hang out with me. And this person is just constantly be like, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm poor, whatever. You know what I mean? I just feel I can't do anything right. You know what I mean? Nothing in life is fair, blah, blah, blah. You know, whatever string of shit, you know what I mean? And again, it's not the fact that that's not actually the case. It's the fact that you can choose to, like, be like, all right, well, you know what? Yeah, it does. But at the same time, you know, you gotta be like, all right, well, I'm not gonna let it fucking bother me, right? Like, if I could just spend my entire life dwelling on how much life sucks, you're gonna be miserable the entire fucking time. Because there may be just like a few instances in your entire life where you'll ever actually be truly like 100%, well, not even 100%, but like actually, truly, genuinely to your core, blissfully happy, right? So, it's a choice. And the same thing with people too, because a lot of the time it's just it's a difficult thing. I mean, to not only cut them off, but to also like deal with it in a way that's like respectable and also amicable in a way, so you don't, like, you know, say it's your best friend, right? Say it's your friend. And, you know, they're nice, they love you, they treat you really well and stuff like that. Like, they don't do anything bad to you, right? But what they do is they just, every time that they're with you, and they'll go out of their way to message you, and they'll be like, hey, you know, blah, 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 my life sucks really bad. You know, I took a really big shit this morning, and it was really hard to wipe, and it made me late to work, you know, and, you know, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what? Okay, like, that happens, right? That's a normal setback. Okay, so maybe they, like they hit a pothole or something, and they, or, you know, whatever, like, you know, I ran out of gas, I had to go fucking stop at the gas station, and then while I was there was, like, shit on the handle, and then I had to wipe the shit off, and it's just like this, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure everybody in the chat right now knows somebody that's like that, you know, and it's just always, it's like a constant thing, even if it's not constant, like if it's like a 70% kind of thing, like 75 to 75%, you know, and it's like all negative, that person needs to do an incredible amount of like self-reflection and shit like that and figure out what the fuck their problem is. But number two is the fact that, you know, that doesn't usually happen overnight. That's something that happens over a very long period of time. And, you know, sometimes, you know, those, like, some people will be confronted with somebody else who's like, look, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares, right? Like, nobody cares how hard your life is. Because ultimately, nobody really does. Like, everybody's experience is unique to them, right? So if I were to be like, yeah, my life was harder than all of yours combined, like, who cares? Like, are any of you gonna take anything away from that? No, of course not, because that's such a stupid thing to say. Everything is unique, you know what I mean? All of our suffering, all of our challenges, there's a lot of common ground, which is why I really wanted to do this, because it's bringing attention to shit like that, you know? And I think a lot of people feel isolated in their problems and their issues and live unaware of many things. Like, they could be completely unaware that they're just negative energy vampires, you know, and they're just like, holy fuck, you know, maybe watching one of these streams will actually, like, you know, it'll help it sink in a way that isn't offensive or hurtful, you know, because nobody ever wants to feel like that, right? Like, if you're an energy vampire, you would want, like, people to at least be kind and understanding about it, right? So that's kind of the whole thing, is this, it's a very interesting and difficult dichotomy of you know, trying to cultivate your crowd and shit, you know what I mean? And again, it is a balance, because that's the thing is, you know, it's not the fact that people can't be negative either, you know, at the same time, but it's the fact, it's the oversharing, it's the it's the constant negative acceptance, right? Because if you choose to be positive, like if you're around somebody that's really having a good time, right? Like they're really choked up on life, you know, they're doing well, they're like taking care of themselves, you know, and they're they're getting lucky, they're just doing good shit. Like, if you're around those people, you're gonna want to do good shit. And if you're an energy vampire, you're naturally gonna feel fucked up around those people, because they're gonna be totally unfazed. Not only unfazed, but they're not gonna want to be around you. and that leads to kind of like like the perpetuation of it, meaning that you're only going to surround yourself with other negative people, right? Because the saying that like misery loves company, right? Like nobody, you know, if you're miserable, you don't want to hang out with somebody that's like fucking rich, you know, and doing really well. He's got a really beautiful significant other, you know, he's successful and talented. You're like, dude, fuck this guy. This guy sucks, right? You'd be like, I want to go hang out with fucking Joe Schmo down the lane there who's poor and drunk and shit, because he's not going to judge me. He's not going to make me feel bad about myself. But, you know, it's the power of association. You know what I mean? It's also the same thing as like guilty by association. You know, if you hang out with people that are negative, you're going to be negative, and you may not even know it too. And it's such a crazy thing because it is kind of like a realization. And for a long time, I think, you know, it's justified. It was justified for me too, where some people just really don't have, you know, anything positive to contribute, and it's just all negative. And it's not to say that you can't love those people and they can't be your friends, or they can't fucking, you know, they can't be a part of your life in any kind of meaningful way. It just means that you need to set up, you know, boundaries, not only for yourself, but for other people, right? Like, look, I don't want to hear this. Like, you know, I appreciate it. I'm sorry that you're having a bad day, but, you know, I'm dealing with my own shit right now, and I don't really need any kind of extra bullshit going on, right? It's a little bit more difficult if it's somebody that you're living with, or if it's your family or something like that, or somebody that you're morally obliged to speak and communicate and deal with on a day-to-day basis. It could be a coworker. Coworkers, I can tell you right now, that's pretty much like the majority of them are energy vampires. You know, most of the people that you'll meet in the workforce, and I feel like it is kind of like the NPC effect, where everybody kind of just operates on some kind of lower sub-frequency of being. And those people they just gotta suck the life out of you. And most of the time, you know, you're able to distinguish that. I feel like if somebody's being overtly negative, or they're being like really just shitty in general, you're like, look, I don't like this person, you know? Morally can tell you, that's right. I like that. Morally. Shout out Rich. Thanks for coming in, brother. I love you, man. I love all of you so much. I hope this shit is pertinent information for you, because, again, realizing this and accepting it are two different things, right? Because you can realize that people in your life suck, but are you actually going to do anything about it? Like, what are you going to do about it? Most people, I think, come to that realization, but then never have the initiative or the reason. Like, it's the paradox theory. Like, they're never that negative to warrant to, like, not speak to them, but they're also not, like, good enough to, like, not feel like they just fucking suck, right? So, what do you do? And that's a tough thing, man. It really is. I think that there's a bunch of different ways you can approach it. I believe in doing it the amicable, diplomatic way, right? Like, if somebody is just totally negative, just stop putting yourself in places or situations where you're around that person, right? Or if it's a coworker, for instance, you know, obviously I've talked about in previous Snail streams, like how to deal with like fucking going through like job issues and shit. Like, where do you go? Like, how do you get stuck in jobs? Like, if a lot of the people in your job suck and are like not adding anything and aren't going anywhere, you should probably consider going somewhere else. You should probably consider to do more, right? Because it's so easy to stagnate. And again, it's one of those things too, where if you're around negative people, you're not doing shit. Not only is that bleeding into your spirit and your subconscious, but it probably will prevent you from taking a leap. Like, for instance, if you work somewhere and, you know, you're a smart person, right? You're very smart, you're talented, and you have the capability and the aptitude to do more, but you just work with people who are like, no, you're a fucking idiot, dude. You're never, like, oh God, you're gonna get a better job? Yeah, right. Dude, you can't do that. I mean, you don't have a college, you don't have anything. You know what I mean? Like, you're just gonna get eaten up. Like, all of those things. And another great way to describe it is the crabs in a bucket analogy, right? Because, you know, it's the same thing where misery loves company. Like, if people are miserable and negative and they see that you're gonna do better, they're gonna fucking drag you back down because they don't want to see you do better, because that's gonna make them feel shitty about themselves. And I think at the bottom of that too, like if you're feeling shitty about yourself because of somebody else is doing something great, that's like a whole other can of worms. Like that's gonna deserve its own Snail Solves shit. But I think that being able to live your life without the thief of comparison and shit, you know what I mean? To be able to go through and be like, all right, well, you know, I'm doing all right. I'm doing the best that I can right now, and I have things that make me happy, you know, and I am doing everything that is accordance with my plan, with the plan that was set for me. And, you know, I see my good friend, right, and he's doing super well, right? He's got his own house, he's got a really good paying job, he's got a family, he's taking care of himself, he's got a six-pack, you know, he just paid for a $50,000 set of fucking veneers, so he's got some sparkly white fucking teeth. He's got a fucking Dodge Hellcat in the driveway. He's got two of them, one for his wife too. You know, he's got a 401k, he's got a couple $100,000 in the bank. You know, he's getting stroked off from behind every single night, just to completion, total drainage. And you're like, dude, why can't that be me? Right? Like, yeah, he's got an 8x6 cock, dude. Like, why can't that be me? You know, what reason does he have these things and I don't? And the whole reason you're asking that is because you fucked up. You fucked up. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. And once you realize that nothing in life matters, but in a way that isn't in the traditional nihilistic sense, where, you know, everything is as you want it to be. Like, if you're unhappy with where you are, go do something else. You know, like if you feel bad, if you feel jealous or envy because somebody else has something that you don't, you fucked up. You fucked up, because there's nothing stopping you from doing that unless you have some kind of either physical disability, right? There's nothing, that's part of the things you can't control. If you can't control shit like that, number one, you can't get upset about it, right? So that eliminates fucking half of that there, right? And then the other half is like, oh damn, that guy's got that shit. Go fucking do it. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. There's no reason why you can't do it. So there's zero reason why you should ever be upset about anything like that ever. And again, that kind of comes full circle right back around to the whole energy vampire thing. Is a lot of the time that's what it is. Like, people will treat you a certain way, or will think of you, or respond to you, or whatever circumstance it is, and try to break you down. Like, say that you're happy doing what you're doing. Say that you have like a modest family, and you have a modest job, and you have a modest car, and you have everything, right? Like, you're not hurting, you're not wanting for anything, and somebody's like, wow, get a load of this asshole. You know, he has to work, and he has to fucking, you know, he's got to pay all these bills, and, you know, and he doesn't have any money and shit like that. And again, it goes both ways. If that person's fucking happy, like if that dude or girl or whatever is just gormlessly going through and is just doing the best that they can and enjoying as much of it along the way as they can, that's the secret of life, dude. That's the key. And that person also is definitely not negative. He's not surrounded by energy vampires, right? Like, that's the key. Like, these are all like important little puzzle piece little things here. And again, it's difficult. Like, today we're blessed with the internet. So anybody at any time can cast an impossibly large net to communicate and talk to people all over the fucking world at any point in so many different platforms and interactions and experiences and shit like that. So we're also forced, whether we want to or not, to observe and also compare our lifestyles, especially on social media. And I feel like it's a very similar thing on YouTube, where it's a subscriber competition. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing, is like, if you're doing what you're doing, right, and if you're happy doing what you're doing, who gives a fuck how many subscribers you got? Like, yeah, I don't have as many subscribers as Mr. Beast, right? I don't have, 15 million fucking people looking at every single video that I have. But does that invalidate me at all, or anything, or anybody else on this platform? No. It's the same exact thing, where I'm kind of doing what I want. Everybody else is kind of doing what they want. And if there isn't a subscriber thing, the only people that are actually really truly critical about it are people that either need to do that for a career or a profession or whatever lucrative reason they're doing it, or they're doing it because it's just borderline envy or jealousy, right? Like, this person has, X amount of subs and I only have this many, and I don't fucking like that guy because he has more than me. Why don't I have that much, right? And then here it comes. Here comes the circuitous shit of, self-pity and everything else. And again, that you just got fucking sucked off. When that happens, you just got sucked off by an energy vampire. And you know what's funny? I don't think I mentioned this too, but you can be a fucking energy vampire to yourself. If you're entertaining that thought process, right? Like, if you're going through that and you're like, oh God, I wish I had more money. Oh, I just feel so bad. I'm too stupid. I can't do this. Blah, 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 blah. You're getting sucked off. You're sucking off yourself, but in like not a good way. You're doing it in a way where you'll never bust. It's like, think of it as like gooning, but you're gooning your spirit in the worst way. Like, you're exhausting yourself. Like, you're draining yourself, literally. And it's fucking evil. That's some evil ass shit. It really is. And it's a hard thing to, again, it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. And it's even harder thing to do to communicate in a friendly, amicable way, people that you care about, or people that you work with, or people in your family that you're like, hey, I really just don't appreciate how you're constantly negative, right? Like, I'm trying to live a positive life. I'm trying to live in a constant state of positivity, because even succumbing to negativity for even a second it's sacrilege. It's fucking blasphemy. It really is. It's sacrilege against yourself. Like, any kind of directed self-hatred or anything like that, anything that isn't fucking adding something to your life, has got to go. There's just no fucking reason for it. Anybody that has a logical or rational brain, it comes down to ones and zeros, right? Ones are good, zeros are bad, right? What are you going to choose? Are you going to be an idiot and choose 0? Or are you going to choose a 1? It's simple. You would choose 1. Like, why would you choose to suffer? And it really is a fucking choice. It really is. It's such an insane thing to tell somebody. Like, hey, your life sucks because and it's your fault. It totally is. Nobody else has probably told that person that in their entire life, right? Like, they've come to make excuses for everything, including who they are, what they do, how they act, who they surround themselves with, everything. Everything is shaped by this bullshit. There's no autonomy. You think that you're your own person doing shit, but you're not. You're a victim of yourself. You're your own victim. Don't be your own downfall. Exactly. Edging with no bust, no gooning, only sweaty and tired. Exactly. You do want to bust. That's the thing, is you want to bust. Busting is good. Okay, think of it like this. Negative self-talk and any kind of negative thought patterns or processes are literally gooning, but you can never come. Right? So you're basically just perpetually torturing yourself. Like, you're not gaining anything from it. Like, you could come in 5 seconds, or you could come in fucking 6 years. Like, why would you wait 6 years? Why would you not just do it in 5 seconds? Right? So it's the same exact fucking thing. As soon as you catch yourself, right? And you could do this, I'm sure. I really want you guys to all practice this. Everybody that's watching right now, please practice this, right? The next time that you go out into the world, whether it's to your job, or it's around a family gathering, or it's wherever, it's at the grocery store, it's at your fucking local drug dealer shop, or wherever the fuck you're spending your time, and you just fucking listen, just wait, talk to people, strike up a conversation. Or it could just be someone that you know, right? And just pay attention. Be like, is this person just being negative? Like, is this person just offloading negativity for no reason, right? You can make that distinction too, right? Like, say somebody's crying, like, you know, and they're like, yeah, my dog's girlfriend, oh my God, yeah, she, you know, we had to take her to the vet and nothing was actually wrong, you know, and I don't know, it was just, you know, now I'm worried and shit. It's like, you know, it's fucking insane. Or if that person is, you know, or if they had a loss, if they had like a loss in the family, or they lost a really important job or something, that's justified. But if they're just offloading about whatever the fuck, you know, whatever stupid idiot thing is happening to them that day, you need to at least make the rational thought to be like, okay, you know, maybe I should probably try to like not surround myself. Maybe I should try to create some distance from this person. Just so that way, you know, it's like a protection thing. It's not to say that you're fucking casting them out or you're cutting them off forever, but it's setting up a boundary, right? Because even though you may not feel like immediately affected by that, like, you know, you came over, you know, my touch girlfriend, you know, and you're like, you know, it's okay, you're consoling them, you know, you're patting their back and shit like that, and, you know, all that shit. And then, you know, they don't ever like add anything else. They don't like, they're not there for you or whatever variables are in the situation. You are taking away shit, you know, and some people, and I think this is like mostly the case with people that have gone through terrible trauma or had some kind of very serious childhood shit going on, but they build up walls and they don't even realize like that they're being affected until it's too late. Like they're internalizing all of this shit, but on the outside, and maybe even in their head, it's kind of like walled off, right? So, for instance, you know, Sally Sue goes to work and Miss Molly or whatever is like, hey, you know, wow, those tights, wow. You know, she doesn't even say anything to me, she's like, you know, wow, those tights, you know, what's going on with that? And it's not even something that's like overtly offensive or mean, right? But she's like, ooh, you know, that whatever her name is, fucking, she's like, damn, you know, why did she say that? You know, and because of that has now going to like seep in. It's gonna grow roots. And she may not even think about it, right? She may be just totally, she's like, whatever. You know, on the surface, she's just like, yeah, haha, whatever, my thighs. Went about her day, maybe thought about it once or twice, and she's like, yeah, well, what does she think about that, you know? And maybe it did actually hurt her. Maybe it did kind of cut her down a little bit. But she just kind of bounced off, right? And then fucking years, months, whatever, however long it takes down the line, right? They're gonna come to a point where that blockade is going to, it's gonna like proliferate. It's going to spread itself, meaning that like she's gonna end up saying something like that to somebody else. And that's not always like a direct thing, right? That's not to say that, you know, if somebody's mean to you that you're eventually gonna go be mean to somebody else, but you know, it's the thought, it's the concept that it spreads, right? Like if that woman had just said, hey, I love your tights, you know, or just not said fucking anything at all, right? That person would have been fine. That person would have never thought about it otherwise, you know, and they would have been totally happy within themselves. But you know, having a specific tool set, having the knowledge to deal with, you know, energy vampires, not even in just an external way, but on the inside too, because again, there is some things that are outside of our control. Like maybe you are just totally fucking ugly. You know, there's just no hope for you at all. And your whole life you've been bullied, you know, by the opposite sex and the same. And there's just no reprieve and shit like that. You have an excellent opportunity, because it's like the whole idea of the undesirable and shit like that. If you can be content within yourself, and I think I said this on the last one too, but assuming that you're like the ugliest sad sack of shit in the entire fucking planet ever, like in the history of the universe, right? Unlovable, everybody's just shitting on you, nobody has ever said anything nice about you in your entire life. You could still have the entire fucking world at your fingertips. Like you would still have the opportunity to not let any of that affect you, right? Because it's the same thing. Like joy, what the fuck is it? Comparison is the thief of joy, right? So if you're not comparing yourself to anybody else and you're not surrounding yourself with people that cut you down, you're gonna be light as a feather. And that's the thing, is you can still surround yourself with good people. And, that's something that takes a lot longer and is usually a lot harder. Because good people are out there, but the shitty people they outnumber the good people by, I would say, probably like 2 to 3. Like 2/3 of all the entire people in the world they suck. They either have no positive contribution at all to your life in any way, or they're just brain dead, and they're energy vampires and shit like that are just kind of existing to be unhappy and to be like negative fucking evil charged batteries, right? That just kind of grow and also spread fucking negativity. And knowing is half the battle, like, because everything is a choice. Like I said, you could set yourself up right now. And again, this is going to take some thinking on your part, and time too, of course. But, you could just sit down and think right after this stream ends and be like, well, look, who are the energy vampires in my life, right? Like, who is in my life right now that is not actively making me feel good about myself? Like, it's not even the fact that they make me feel good, it's that they don't make me feel good. That's an important thing. Like, if at any point during the day or the week or the month or at any fucking point ever, it's hard to say ever because people do change and shit like that. There is quite a bit of fluctuation there. But at the same time, think about that shit. Like, who is taking away from me? Like, who has said something that made me feel bad about myself? Who has done something that has set me up out of the way? You know what I mean? And if that's the case, think about it, right? Create a little bit of distance. Don't, let's just say they fucked you over, right? You got somebody that and they just totally fucked you over. And you have a really hard time not only accepting it because it's betrayal, right? At its core, they betrayed you. They betrayed your friendship and your trust or whatever the circumstances are. And they let you down, right? And they fucked you over. You could, instead of holding a vendetta and like being, vengeful and being angry and holding on to that, like, you know what, this person fucked me over and I'm gonna continue to be upset about it, right? Because I deserve, not only did I not deserve to get fucked over, but I deserve whatever fucking good shit that should have came to me instead. You could do that, right? But are you noticing a pattern here? Because if you think about it, right, if you take a step back and you think about what that is, what that thought process is at its general, what is that doing for you, right? If that person fucked you over, there's probably not going to be any kind of immediate or long-term resolution to that, right? I mean, there may be, but it's on you to do that, right? Ultimately, it's on you and then also the other person, but, if you sit and you dwell on that shit, right, and there's nothing fucking positive going on, right, if you're just like, wow, that person sucks, I deserve this, you're fucking up, right? And what you should do is, instead of maintaining that anger, right, you replace it, you repurpose it. You're like, all right, well, maybe next time I'm not gonna stop talking to them, right? Like, if I see him at the supermarket, or if I see him, if I see them out at the bar or wherever you're at, I'm not going to be unfriendly to them. I'm no longer going to, let them be an active part of my life and shit like that. And, whatever else, you can set the parameters to that, to whatever you're comfortable for. But ultimately, it's cutting them off, because, if you're not able to either make them aware of the fact that they're being an energy vampire, or that, you can't create enough distance to, make it comfortable and not put you in any kind of spiritual deficit or something like that, then you gotta just do the right thing and cut them off, because, life is too short, and everybody is so beautiful and lovable and full of talent and full of everything, full of possibility. Anybody can do anything they want, ever. And whether they're physically disabled or mentally disabled, there's people, they look at the fucking Olympics, even the Special Olympics. Like, there's people that are fucking absolutely crushing it, and like, what do they call that? Like, crushing the barriers of, what can be and what shouldn't be and shit like that. And I'm really hoping I can do that here too, because I really think that this is an important thing to talk about an important thing to realize, and also an important thing to work on, right? Because I have energy vampires in my life. Everybody does. Nobody is exempt from. Like, there may be one person, like in the entire, well, I would say one person, but there's not enough. There's not as much that don't have any kind of actual energy vampires. But, you know, being aware and putting in the positive energy and the sex. Yo, shout out fucking Lightning Dragon. So sexy, dude. Let's fucking rock and roll, dude. Fucking love you. McDowell lives forever. You gotta do what's right. You must. It's the only thing that you can do. And I think that is something that will help everybody. You know, it doesn't matter if that's even a problem for you. It may not even be a big problem, right? It may just be something that you go through. Maybe something that you just deal with and shit. But ultimately, you gotta do what's right for yourself, right? You gotta look out for yourself, because I really, as much as I do, I have a lot of people that support me, but I can say this and they would all agree with me too, but like, you always gotta just take care of yourself first, always. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are or any of that shit, you know what I mean? Like, even in like romantic relationships and shit like that, there are so many situations where you will choose to make the wrong decision and do something that ultimately, like, that takes away from you. You know, it takes away from your experience. Something that, you know, and this is something else too, is like the whole intuitive function that we all have. And I attribute that to the human spirit. You know, there's definitely some fucking spiritual shit going on there too, because everybody has like that gut sense, right? Like, everybody, like, when something bad is happening, you know it, right? You feel it in your gut. You feel it inside your core. And, you have to fucking rely on that shit. That shit, and the more that you rely on it, and the more that you become familiar with it, the more it will tell you. And if you follow that shit, you're never gonna be in a bad spot. I promise. You know, unless it has something to do with like impulse control. That's a totally different thing, but. If you trust your spirit, like if you ask yourself, like if you know, say you're in a really tough situation, right? And you take just 2 or 3, just say 5 seconds. You take 5 seconds, you literally close your eyes. I want you guys all to do this with me. You ready? Close your eyes and ask yourself, like, am I being negative? Have I been negative at all at any point today to myself or to other people? Right? And if you say yes, then think about that. Think about that for a second. Like, all right, well, what did I say? What did that person say to me? Right? And you can just think of it as kind of like division. Like, you're dividing your shit down, right? So once you figured out who was mean to you, right? Let's just say this, you know, whatever, XYZ was mean to you. Why were they mean to you? Think about it, right? Were they, you know, did they have, maybe somebody took a shit in their cereal in the morning, right? Or maybe they fucking, you know, whatever, maybe they fucking lost somebody and they're just really upset about it, or you know, whatever things, you know. And if the ends justify the means, then you fucking just take it to the chin, right? But again, here, like the whole thing with the boundaries and shit, right? If you're setting up boundaries, you're not going to even really be in situations where you're constantly presented with shit like that. But again, if it's actually meaningful, right? Like, say somebody that you actually care about is going through a hard time, they just lost somebody, and you want to be there for them, and they're just totally offloading, they're venting. You know, that's an acceptable thing. That's an okay thing. And that would be a time when you really do want to kind of step in. But at the same time, you can also, I feel like, be a little bit overbearing, right? Like, it's the same thing. It's like the opposite of an energy vampire, where you're inserting things where they don't belong. And there's, of course, a lot of puns that go with that too, right? Sometimes it's like the horse, you can lead a horse to water analogy, right? Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know, so if you know somebody that's having a really hard time and you know that they're probably not going to benefit from you going out of your way to console them or to listen to their, or to give them advice or whatever like that, then you're also just as much wasting your time. Yeah, I was gonna say you can open your eyes now. I kind of forgot about that. I kind of got sidetracked on that too. I forgot. But yeah, you know, if you make that, I think what I was trying to say in the beginning part is, you know, if you're in a time where somebody says something bad, you close your eyes, right, and just be like, what's going on, right? Like, think about your spirit, think about your gut, being like, all right, well, if this person's upsetting me, right? If this person's like, you're fucking fat, you're stupid, you know, when they mean it, they're really getting in there. You take 5 seconds and you reflect. You ask your gut, like, is this person actually mad at me? Or is this person just fucking overreacting? Is this person just projecting whatever negativity or emotion and anger? And if the answer is number 2, if they're just projecting, then you need to leave. You gotta separate yourself. But if it's the other one, then it requires different consideration, right? But these are all things that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to. Like they're not making that kind of they're not making that they're not discerning the difference between that in the moment. They're probably becoming instantly emotionally reactive, right? Like that's a natural thing to do, right? If somebody calls you fat and they're yelling in your face, you're gonna get pissed off, right? You know, you're like, what the fuck? I'm not fat, fuck you! You know, shit like that. You gotta just make that distinction. You know, think about it. Just take the time. Because a lot of things can be said in anger that only perpetuate the situation. And also, at its core, anger is just another fucking sucking energy. Because what is anger doing? Anger is doing nothing for you. If you're getting angry, and it's not because you're trying to complete a goal, or you're trying to complete an objective, then it's totally wasted, and it's an energy vampire. You've now become an energy vampire, and you're sucking yourself off. You're basically like, you're sucking your own blood, and the blood is disappearing, right? So it's not a good situation for you. It's not a good situation for anybody. But knowledge is power. You know, realizing that that's the case is half of the battle. And then it's just really it's just up to you to decide to do that. And there's plenty of, I guarantee you, if you really reflect on everything we said on this stream, and you apply that shit, you think about it over the next week while you're talking to your coworkers, and maybe you're at a family gathering, and, you know, your uncle's just like, dude, my life sucks, I want to die, you know, nothing is right for me, I hate my job, it's a dead-end job, blah, 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 and he's just like latching onto you, and he's like, yeah, somebody's gonna listen to my fucking, somebody I can suck off. I hope that's not the case, but you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's not a good thing, you know, it's not a good thing on either of those two situations. But, you know, again, supporting people is an important thing, and that's not to say that you shouldn't be delegating your energy to supporting those that you love, especially if they need it. But again, being aware of the circumstances and the situations surrounding that interaction are pivotally important to, like, this is getting too close to home. We're all here for each other, dude. Yes, it really is. It's that simple. It really is. And if you're an agent of light, you know, if you're an agent of light and positivity, and you're out there fucking, you know, fucking sweating. Oh, it's hilarious. Thank you. I wasn't trying to be funny. I really hope that's not the case. Yeah. I'm getting distracted here. I'm thinking about that. Yeah, just fucking cut them off, dude. Don't be a fucking energy vampire. Cut the energy vampires out of your life. If you can't help them, cut them off, or at least limit them. And you'll be so much fucking happier. If you use this stream as a benchmark, and you come back to me and fucking at the end of August, or actually fuck it, even at the beginning of September, and you're like, yeah, I remember that stream, you were telling me about energy vampires and shit. You know, you told me to stop letting them suck me off. Good. Let that fucking be a lesson, and I promise, your life is gonna be better. And, you know, you're probably gonna have to cut some important people off. That's the case. It is, you know? Don't let that stop you, right? Because there's like fucking 6 billion people in the entire world. Or something like that. There's like a ridiculous amount. So if you lose your entire friend group, let's just say you have a friend group of 100 people, which is fucking insane. I don't know anybody has a friend group that large. Like an actual group of friends. That's still, let's do the math real quick. How many times does How many times is 100 going to 6 billion? So we 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? Divided by 100. That goes in 60 million times. Yeah, so you still have 60 million opportunities to rebuild your friendship. Or your friend group of 100 people. 60 fucking billion. Or 60 million. Okay? That's an astrologically, that's a fucking insanely large number. Shout out Sophie Bliss, I love you. I love all of you so much. We're talking about energy vampires. I'm getting ready to wrap up. This is just a quick stream. This is quick. I missed yesterday. I had to come in and solve people's problems, but everybody's been having a good week, which is good. I'm glad. There's been a lot of people in my own life that have had a lot of problems that need solving. And I've been working on that, and miracles have been happening and shit, so I'm really happy with that. I've been paying my dues. I've been trying to spread as much love and positivity as I can, and every once in a while, you know, the light smiles upon me, and I feel its warmth, and it feels good. And hopefully I'm going to be busting very soon, quite a bit. We'll see. I'm always busting, but I like to bust regularly and consistently, and to completion. You know, like a total milking, right? But yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys. This is like the last little bit now for closing comments and shit. You got 4 more minutes. I'm gonna wrap them up at 9 o'clock. This has been a lot of fun. We have more streams coming. I might end up streaming more tonight. I'm not sure. I was doing some WoW stuff, and it was really relaxing, and it was nice. I might continue that. I've been playing Once Human or some shit, I think it's called, with Blue Cat, and I got Phil in there last night. He's busting. He was actually getting like total erections for it too, which was awesome. I love watching Phil play anything because he's just a fucking. Kale said the other night that he's like 30 minutes in the future. Phil just exists 30 minutes in the future. So, like, he just knows everything before it even happens. It's incredible to watch, especially on, like, MMOs or anything that requires any kind of, like, time-based shit. Because somehow, he's always ahead. He really is. He's a fucking time-traveling genius. I mean, he's like a whatever, you know? Something like that. I love all of you so much. Huge shout out to everybody that came out tonight. Kale, Ron, Bear, Lightning Dragon, Oh McDowell lives forever, Sophie Bliss, who else? I know I saw Bear the Greeter, of course. Daydream Drift, let's go, shout out. How many milligrams up in this pill? That's a big rub in my pill. How many milligrams up in this pill? My plug said he loves me. I love all of you. Shout out Rich29, dude. I love you so much. Shout out Phil. Shout out Alex. Shout out Blue Cat, of course. I love all of you guys so much. Phil of the future. I gotta check that out. Is that actually a show? I gotta go check that shit out for real. How many milligrams up in this pill? 30 milligram body of Christ. Yep. We're busting. I love all of you so much. Okay? There's gonna be more streams too. There's a lot of cool shit coming out. Kale and I are gonna be playing Shrek 2 on the retro GameCube. Same thing with Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, or whatever the fuck. Whatever it is. I also have like a whole fucking bucket of GameCube games that I'm gonna play on stream over the next couple weeks. Get excited for the next Snail Solves Your Problems. I really want to start seeing some more participation. This is a live call-in show, by the way. You guys can call in live and talk to me. And I would love to talk to you and talk about your problems and talk about whatever the fuck. I just love all of you, for real. Get excited for that. I'm trying to think of what else. There's a couple other people that are working on some pretty significant shit. There's also, as you know, as I shout out on every stream, lots of music. I basically finished the Snail tape now, I just need to go through and get it ready to be released, and then it's pretty much there. And I really hope you all buy it, because it's good. It's over an hour and 40 minutes of music. Special, custom tailored by just me. This is shit that's been going on for a very long time. This is like over 6 years worth of shit. And you're definitely gonna want to hear it. It's good. It's shit that you've never heard before. Sounds and configurations of music, emotions and energy, and all kinds of incredible stuff. You'll definitely, it's money well spent. I can promise you that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what other big ass shit. We got some. It's mostly just music. We got a ton of music. Oh, that's right. We have a documentary coming. We have a couple new sketches. We have a whole bunch of shit. Music videos. September is going to be a really big month for Gastropod. We're going to try to get some shit going on, like Stacy's mom, and we'll be bringing some incredible shit to you guys. And hopefully, who knows, maybe we'll actually get some actual live shows. There might be, you know, if the stars align, that's not going to be something you're going to want to miss. Now is the time where we end it. I'm going to go take a little break, do what I needed to do. I might be streaming again later. If I am, make sure you check it out. It's probably going to be some WoW, maybe some Once Human. I ate an entire mother of meat pizza. Well, not entire, I got like, you know, a couple bites left here. And I feel like my brain now, after all of this talking, is starting to swell up in a good way. It's time to bust. Nods and prepare to say what you. Shout out McDowell, shout out Bear, shout out everybody. I love you all so much. Stick around for the ending. Make sure to like the stream. Make sure to share it. Right? You don't even have to share it. You don't even have to send it out. Just press the share button and press that watch later too. And then I'll be seeing you all again very soon. Very soon. Stay hydrated as fuck. I love you all. Okay? 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 I love you, okay? I'm gonna need you guys to tell energy vampires to suck your dick, and not in a good way. You know, I mean, you make them suck it in the good way. Or else. And if they can't, fuck them. Rewatch this shit too, because you might have missed something. There was a lot of good information in this. Say goodbye to the energy vampires, and with that we say do 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 do.